The air in the lawyer's office was stale, carrying the faint smell of old paper and disinfectant. My parents sat across the polished oak table, smiling as if the outcome had already been decided. When Mr. Raymond Blake, the family attorney, slid a check across to my sister Hannah, I caught the number before she pulled it close to her chest. $10 million. My mother, Margaret, squeezed Hannah's hand, while my father, Thomas, leaned back with quiet satisfaction. Then they both turned to me. "Emma," my father said smoothly, "you'll have to make your own way. You're strong enough for that." I didn't cry. I didn't even flinch. I kept my gaze fixed on the wood grain beneath my fingers, tracing invisible lines, pretending I couldn't feel the thunder of my own pulse. Then Mr. Blake cleared his throat. "There's one more item," he said. From his briefcase, he withdrew a sealed envelope, edges worn, handwriting unmistakable. My grandfather's. For the first time, my mother's smile faltered. My father's jaw clenched. Hannah shot me a sideways glance, sharp and nervous. "This," Mr. Blake continued, "was left with explicit instructions. It must be opened only at Blackwood Estate in rural Virginia, with all heirs present." The room turned colder. That estate, the farmhouse where I'd spent every summer until my family decided I was no longer welcome. A place that smelled of cedar and honeysuckle, where my grandfather, Victor Keller, had told me the world was bigger than their approval. 2 days later, we drove south through the rolling hills of Virginia. The deeper we went, the quieter my parents became. Hannah fiddled with her phone, pretending she wasn't nervous. I stared out the window, watching the blur of fields and fences, trying to calm the storm inside me. The estate looked smaller than I remembered. The paint on the porch was peeling, the wind chimes clattered like broken promises, and the magnolia trees leaned heavily toward the drive. When the car stopped, I hesitated before stepping out. The door creaked open. My grandmother, Clara Keller, stood framed in the doorway, her spine still straight despite the years. "So," she said, her voice sharp as glass, "you finally decided to come." Her eyes skipped past my parents and Hannah and landed on me. There was no warmth in them, only something brittle, like a truth too long ignored. Inside, the house smelled of coffee and old wood. I trailed my hand along the familiar wallpaper, remembering summers when Grandpa Victor taught me how to listen to the hum of bees or let me take notes on his field experiments. He never mocked my curiosity, he nurtured it. We gathered in the living room. Mr. Blake placed the envelope on the table. The red wax seal gleamed in the lamplight. My chest tightened as he slid it open and began to read aloud. To my granddaughter, Emma Keller. The air thickened. My family froze. And I realized this was only the beginning. Mr. Blake's voice was steady as he read my grandfather's words. To my granddaughter, Emma Keller. I leave Blackwood Estate and the adjoining laboratory facility. Every piece of research, every note, and every patent belongs to you. Use them not for profit, but for discovery. This was always meant for you. Silence crashed down like thunder. My mother's lips parted, searching for words. My father's face turned a dangerous shade of red. Hannah bolted upright. "This is ridiculous," she spat. "He promised me everything. I was the one who stayed. I visited him. I earned this." I stayed seated, my hands folded tightly in my lap. For once, I didn't shrink. I let the words settle in the room like dust after an explosion. Mr. Blake cleared his throat. "There's more." He unfolded a smaller page. Victor wrote, "Emma, you were always the one who asked why when others settled for how. You were my legacy of thought, not performance. This place is yours because you'll honor it." Tears blurred my vision, but I didn't look away. My parents muttered threats of contesting the will, but my grandmother stood, her voice stronger than I'd ever heard. "Leave," she said coldly. "You have no claim here." One by one, they left. The door shut softly behind them. I sat still, the weight of the key in my palm. Blackwood Estate was mine, not as a prize, but as a promise. My grandfather had trusted me to continue his work, and for the first time in my life, I felt seen.